that you're about to see is a presentation of a little excerpt of a stage reading for about 20-25 minutes. It's a stage reading from Richard III that they just mentioned in that song. It's one of Shakespeare's most iconic plays. It's a really iconic villain character. And we at Panoply Collective have been wanting to explore this play for a while, investigating what it's like when Richard is played by a woman. So Richard will be played by a woman tonight, as this play deals with a whole lot of things about gender and beauty standards and morality. So that's what we're going to be investigating tonight. Just in case you haven't heard, we at Panoply Theatre Collective are a Toronto-based actors collective who are dedicated to reimagining and reviving classical theatre. So we're not interested in creating museum pieces, we're interested in putting ourselves on stage, we're interested in seeing the communities that we know and love reflected on stage in Shakespearean worlds and Shakespearean texts, but in a really contemporary way. So Panoply is led by myself and by Alyssa Papier and by Sienna Singh, so there'll be a reading as well in this reading tonight. We just wanted to say a quick thank you to Ovation. We are really passionate about arts education and community engagement, so we're so thrilled that we get to be here tonight with these wonderful actors that you're about to see. Our students in our classical theater class have been really investigating Shakespearean language and text interpretation, so that's what we're going to be showing off right now in our reading of Richard III. So give us a sec to get set up, and then we're going to do that. So come on over, guys. So, in a stage reading, it sounds just like it is. There's no set or costumes or blocking or props. All of our characters are represented with handy-dandy name tags on our music stands here, and you'll see a little excerpt of Richard III. So, hope you enjoy.
Our adaptation of Richard III is titled Prove a Villain. It is based on Richard III by William Shakespeare and adapted by Panoply Theatre Collective. Please note that these scenes are selected from our adaptation and do not encompass the full story this evening. Also note that in this version of the text, Richard flows from past to present, and in its staging there are moments when perhaps she is in both. Scene 1, King Richard III's tent. King Richard asleep on stage on the eve of the Battle of Bosworth Field. In her dreams, she hears the ghost-like curses of Elizabeth, Queen Margaret, and Lady Anne.
O tiger's heart, wrapped in a woman's hide, how couldst thou drain the lifeblood of the child, to bid the mother wipe her eyes withal, and yet be seen to bear a woman's face?
Ah me, how weak a thing the heart of woman is.
Cursed be the hand that made these fatal wounds. Cursed be the heart that had the heart to do it.
Now Margaret's curse is fallen upon thy head, when quoth she shall spit thy heart with sorrow. Remember, Margaret was a prophetess.
King Richard starts out of her dream.
Give me another horse! Stop. I did but dream. Oh, coward conscience, how dost thou afflict me? The light burns blue. It is now dead midnight. Cold, fearful drops stand on my trembling flesh. What do I fear? Myself? Well, there's none else by. Richard loves Richard. That is, I am I. Is there a murderer here? No. Yes, I am. Then fly. What, from myself? Alack, I love myself. Wherefore, for any good that I myself have done unto myself. The crown upon my head is proof of that. For I myself will this unto myself, and every death upon my blade is clean. I knew that then the earth affords no joy to me, but to command, to check, to o'erbear such as are of better person than myself. So made I my heaven to dream upon the crown.
Scene 2, a field. A flurry of commotion on stage as we are thrown back in time and into Richard's memory. At first, it's as if Richard doesn't even see them around her, but in her mind's eye. The sound and smell of war fills the air. The Lancaster forces fly through distraught, including Queen Margaret and King Henry VI. Meanwhile, the Yorks, including Edward IV and Clarence, sweep through calmly.
Villain! And what's he then that says I played the villain? Wherefore? For wearing the mask of man, which worn by those in battle are rewarded, when on my face condemned.
Villain.
Margaret pulls Richard's focus. She sees them and begins to join the memory, drawn into the action of the past.
Why, I can smile and murder whilst I smile.
O war, thou son of hell, whom angry heavens you made their ministers, throw in the frozen bosoms of our part hot coals of vengeance.
Let no soldier fly.
Away, my lord, you are slow, for shame, away.
Can we outrun the heavens? Good Margaret, stay.
The final moments of battle. Lancasters are surrounded by the Yorks. Henry cries out. All swirl and exit, leaving only Henry and Richard on stage. Scene 3, the Tower. Henry and Richard alone on stage. Henry has been imprisoned after losing the war to the Yorks.
Wherefore dost thou come? Is't for my life?
Think'st thou I am an executioner?
A persecutor, I am sure thou art. If murdering innocents be executing, why then thou art an executioner.
I killed thy son for his presumption.
Hadst thou been killed when first thou didst presume, thou hadst not lived to kill a son of mine. And thus I prophesy that many 1,000 shall rue the hour that ever thou wast born. Teeth hadst thou in thy head when thou wast born, to signify thou camest to bite the world. And if the rest be true, which I have heard, thou camest—
I'll hear no more. Die, prophet, in thy speech.
Richard stabs Henry. Richard pulls out the dagger and is brought back to the present moment.
Was not this meant to be but by my hand? Was Henry not, by God, but mine to kill? And since I held the sword, I looked not back, till days that passed were steeped ere more in blood. So hands that once sought justice now seem red, as now my thoughts to Henry all are fled. Since my thoughts in truth were set for justice, not enlisted for my purpose to the crown, for the deed therefore was shrined in this good will. For this amongst the rest was I ordained. Indeed, 'tis true that Henry told of me, for I have often heard my mother say I came into the world with my legs forward. Had I not reason, think ye, to make haste and seek their ruin that usurped our right? The tyrant or the hangman, who sins most?
Yorks enter to find Richard and the slain Henry. This snaps Richard back into the past.
Sound drums and trumpets, and to London all, and more such days as these to us befall.
Richard, with Henry's blood on her hands, begins to speak.
I have nothing of woman in me.
Why, what's the matter? That you have such a February face, so full of storm, of frost and cloudiness.
'Twas a rough night. Sometime voice that, if I had waked after long sleep, will make me sleep again. And then, in dreaming, the cloud, methink, would open and show riches ready to drop upon me, that when I wake, I cry to dream again.
But what's the matter, sister? May we know?
Yea, brother, when she knows, for I protest, as yet she does not. But as I can learn, she hearkens after prophecies and dreams.
She is a dreamer. Let us leave her. Past.
Yield thee, sister, you are not well. Remain here at the hearth with gentle patience as our brother gains his crown.
What art thou? Have not I an arm as big as thine, a heart as big? Thy words, I grant, are bigger, for I wear not my dagger in my mouth. Say what thou art, why should I yield to thee? Are not we brothers?
So man and man should be. But clay and clay differs in dignity, where dust is both alike.
What a piece of work is man! Man delights me not, nor woman neither, though by your smiling you seem to say so.
Sister, there was no such stuff in my thoughts. Ah me, how weak a thing the heart of woman is.
They exit, celebrating. Richard speaks to the audience.
I am not prone to weeping as my sex commonly are. I have a woman's mind, but a man's might.
Richard exits. Scene 4, the palace. We see the coronation of King Edward IV and the court's festivities. There is music, laughter, and joy, a much-needed release after years of war and uncertainty. All is well. While the main activity takes place center stage, Richard lingers on the outskirts, watching.
Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by this son of York, and all the clouds that lured upon our house in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Grim-visaged war hath smoothed his wrinkled front, and now, instead of mounting barbed steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, he capers nimbly in a lady's chamber to the lascivious pleasing of a lute. But I, that am not shaped for sportive tricks, nor made to court an amorous looking glass, I, that am unsightly and want love's majesty, to strut before a wanton ambling nymph. I, in this weak piping time of peace, have no delight to pass away the time, unless to spy my shadow in the sun, descant on mine own frailty. Beauty is bought by judgment of the eye, not uttered by base sale of chapmen's tongues. And eyes do grow but sore when looking on this broken body, this dreadful image. And therefore, since I cannot prove a lover, I am determined to prove a villain, and hate the idle pleasure of these days. Plots have I laid, inductions dangerous by drunken prophecies and libels and dreams, to set my brother Clarence and the king in deadly hate the one against the other. And if King Edward be as true and just as I am subtle, false, and treacherous, this day should Clarence closely be mewed up about a prophecy which says that she, of Edward's heirs, the murderer shall be. Dive thoughts down to my soul. Here Clarence comes.
Enter Clarence, guarded by Brackenbury.
Brother, good day! What means this armed guard that waits upon your grace?
His Majesty, tendering my person's safety, hath appointed this conduct to convey me to the tower.
Upon what cause?
Because my name is George.
Alack, my lord, the fault is none of yours. But what's the matter, Clarence, may I know?
Our brother now does think himself a prophet, and for the crossroad plucks the letter G, and says a wizard told him that by G his issues disinherit should be, and for my name of George begins with G, it follows in his thoughts that I am he.
I never knew you put such stock in visions. Why, this is it when men are ruled by women. 'Tis not the king that sends you to the tower, Elizabeth. His wife, Clarence, 'tis she that tempers him to this extremity. We are not safe, Clarence, we are not safe.
By heaven, I think there's no man is secure.
I beseech your graces both to pardon me. His Majesty hath straitly given in charge that no one shall have private conference of what degree soever with his brother.
We know that charge, Brackenbury, and will obey.
Enter Hastings.
Good time of day unto my gracious lord.
As much unto my good Lord Chamberlain. Well, are you welcome to the open air?
How hath your lordship brooked imprisonment?
With patience, noble lord, as prisoners must. That I shall live, my lord, and give them thanks that were the cause of my imprisonment.
No doubt, no doubt. And so shall Clarence too, for they that were your enemies are his, and have prevailed as much on him as you.
What news abroad?
No news so bad abroad as this at home. The king is sickly, weak, and melancholy.
Now by St. Paul this news is bad indeed. 'Tis very grievous to be thought upon. What, is he in bed?
He is.
Go you before, and I will follow you.
Exit Hastings.
King Edward cannot live and must not die till Clarence be packed with post-horse up to heaven. All in, to urge his hatred more to Clarence. And if I fail not in my deep intent, Clarence hath not another day to live.
It is the queen who urges Edward. She who pours this pestilence into his weak and vulnerable ear. It bodes not well.
We are the queen's subjects and must obey. Brother, farewell. I will unto the king, and whatsoever you will employ me in were to call King Edward's widow sister, I will perform it to enfranchise you. Meantime, this deep disgrace in brotherhood touches me deeper than you can imagine.
I know it pleaseth neither of us well.
Well, your imprisonment shall not be long. Meantime, have patience.
I must perforce. Farewell.
Exit Clarence.
Men at some time are masters of their fates. It must have been by his death. I am one whom vile wind and buffets of the world have so incensed that I was reckless what I did despite the world. Although my kin, he was my foe. And in such bloody distance that every minute of his being thrust against the nearest of my life. I was constant Clarence should be killed, and constant I remained.
Time passes. In the intermittent scenes, Clarence is killed by murderers hired by Richard. Later in the play, the trumpets sound, whipping Richard back into her past. Enter the young Prince Edward with Richard, Buckingham, Catesby, and others.
Welcome, sweet prince, to London, to your chamber.
Welcome, dear cousin, my thoughts sovereign. The weary way hath made you melancholy.
No, uncle, but our crosses on the way have made it tedious, wearisome, and heavy. I want more uncles here to welcome me.
Those uncles which you want were dangerous. Your grace attended to their sugared words, but looked not on the poison of their hearts. God keep you from them, and from such false friends.
I thank you, good my lord, and thank you all. I thought my mother and my brother York would long ere this have met us on the way. Fie, what a slug is Hastings, and he comes not to tell us whether they will come or no.
Enter Hastings.
And in good time, here comes the sweating lord.
Welcome, my lord. What, will our mother come?
On what occasion? God he knows, not I, the queen your mother, and your brother York, have taken sanctuary. The tender prince would fain have come with me to meet your grace, but his mother was perforce withheld.
Fie, what an indirect and peevish course is this of hers. Lord Hastings, will you persuade the queen to send the Duke of York unto his princely brother presently? If she deny, then with her jealous arms pluck the boy perforce.
I go, my lord.
Good lords, make all the speedy east you may.
Exit Hastings.
Say, Uncle Richard, if our brother come, where shall we sojourn till our coronation?
Where it seems best unto your royal self. If I may counsel you, some day or two, your highness shall repose you at the tower. Oh, there, where you please, and shall be thought most fit for your best health and recreation.
I do not like the tower of any place. Did Julius Caesar build that place, my lord?
He did, my gracious lord, begin that place which since succeeding ages have re-edified.
Is it upon record, or else reported, successively from age to age, that he built it?
Upon record, my gracious lord.
Methinks the truth should live from age to age, even to the general all-ending day. And if I live until I be a man, I'll win our ancient right in France again, or die a soldier as I lived a king.
Short summers likely have a forward spring.
Enter young York and Hastings.
Now, in good time, here comes the Duke of York.
Richard of York, how fares our loving brother?
Well, my dread lord, so must I call you now.
Aye, brother, to our grief, as it is yours. Too late he died that he might have kept that title, which by his death hath lost much majesty.
How fares our cousin, noble Lord of York?
I thank you, gentle uncle. Oh, my lord, you said that idle weeds are fast in growth. The prince, my brother, hath outgrown me far.
He hath, my lord.
And therefore is he idle?
Oh, my fair cousin, I must not say so.
Then is he more beholding to you than I?
He may command me as my sovereign, but you have power in me as in a kinsman.
which is no grief to give.
A greater gift than that'll give my cousin.
A greater gift? Oh, that's a sword to it.
A gentle cousin were it light enough.
Oh, then I see. You will part, but with light gifts. In weightier things, you'll say a beggar nay.
It is too heavy for your grace to wear.
I weigh it lightly were it heavier.
But would you have my weapon, little lord?
I would, that I might thank you as you call me.
How?
Little?
My lord of York will still be cross in talk. Uncle, your grace knows how to bear with it.
You mean to bear me, not to bear with me? Uncle, my brother, mocks both you and me, because that I am little like an egg. He thinks that you should bear me on your shoulders.
With what sharp provided wit he reasons to mitigate your scorn, he gives his uncle. He prettily and aptly taunts himself. So cunning and so young is wonderful.
My lord, will it please you pass along? Myself and my good cousin Buckingham will to your mother to entreat of her to meet you at the tower and welcome you.
What, will you go unto the tower, my lord?
My lord protector needs will have it so.
Mary, my uncle Clarence angry ghost. My grandam told me he was murdered there.
I fear no uncle's dead.
Nor none that live, I hope.
And if they live, I hope I need not fear. But come, my lord, and with a heavy heart, thinking on them, go I unto the tower.
A senate, exit all but Richard, Buckingham, and Catesby.
Think you, my lord, this little prating York was not incensed by his subtle mother to taunt and scorn you thus opprobriously?
No doubt, no doubt. Oh, 'tis a perilous boy, bold, quick, ingenious, forward, capable. He's all the mothers from top to toe.
Let them rest. Come hither, Catesby. You art sworn as deeply to effect what we intend, as closely to conceal what we impart. Thou knowst our reasons urged upon the way. What thinkst thou? It's not an easy matter to make William Lord Hastings of our mind for the installment of this noble duke into the seat royal of this famous isle.
He, for his father's sake, so loves the prince, that he will not be one to aught against him.
What thinkst thou then of Stanley? What will he?
He will do all in all as Hastings doth.
Well then, no more but this. Go, gentle Catesby, and as it were far off, sound thou Lord Hastings. How doth he stand affected to our purpose? And summon him tomorrow to the tower to sit about the coronation. If thou dost find him tractable to us, encourage him and show him all our reasons. But if he be leaden, icy cold, and unwilling, be thou so too, and so break off your talk, and give us notice of his inclination, where we tomorrow hold divided councils, wherein thyself shall highly be employed.
Commend me to Lord Hastings. Tell him, Catesby, his ancient knot of dangerous adversaries, tomorrow are let flood at Pomfret Castle.
Good Catesby, go, effect this business soundly.
My good lords both, with all the heed I may.
Shall we hear from you, Catesby, ere we sleep?
You shall know.
At Crosby Place, there you shall find us both.
Exit Catesby.
Now, my lord, what shall we do if we perceive Lord Hastings will not yield to our complaints?
Chop off his head, man. Somewhat we will do. And look, when I am king, claim thou of me the earldom of Hereford, and the movables whereof the king my brother stood possessed.
I'll claim that promise at your grace's hands.
And look to have it yielded with all willingness. Come, let us have a time, so that afterwards we may digest our complots and speak more.
Exit. In the intermittent scenes, Richard and Buckingham find Hastings to be unworthy and unreliable. They forge a letter of treason in Hastings' hand and have him killed. Hastings knows in their hearts that Richard is to blame and curses her as he is sent off to his death. Buckingham and Richard use the letter as proof of Hastings' treason to excuse themselves to the Lord Mayor. Richard now sends Buckingham to Guildhall, a general meeting place where the public will be gathered to influence them in favor of Richard taking the throne. Scene 8, Guildhall. Buckingham steps up in front of their peers, who are debating Prince Edward as the rightful heir to the throne. Buckingham gathers their attention.
Now, by the holy mother of our Lord, good Citizens, I bid you all do hear the news that hath been found about your king. The old King Edward was, God rest his soul, a man of baser appetites and deed. The bastardy of Edward's children is clear, for in his contract with Lady Lucy and his contract by deputy in France and his enforcement of the city wives. More so, he himself was born of bastardy, as being God his father then in France, and his resemblance being not like the Duke. His youngest sister, Richard, I do think, does best befit the idea of her father, both in her form and nobleness of mind. And look upon her victories of late, her discipline in war, wisdom in peace, her bounty, virtue, fair humility, indeed, left nothing fitting for the purpose, untouched nor discarded in the discourse. Richard is the rightful heir to the throne. To all of you who love your country dear, cry, God save Richard, England's royal king. But what, does not a soul stand here who loves our country? Who is here so rude that would not be an Englishman? If any speak, for him have I offended. Who here is so vile that will not love his country? If any speak, for him have I offended. Good people, what mean you by this silence?
A few voices in the back cry, God save Richard. The majority look to each other, lower their eyes, and cross their arms.
Many thanks, gentle citizens and friends. This general applause and loving show argues your wisdom and your love to Richard. May England's throne be once again restored.
Exit Buckingham, and so we exit our staged reading this evening.